They're very close. I think you can call to order now.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is 4:53, and I am calling the meeting of the David T. Howard Middle School Go Team to order. Our first order of business is roll call. And I will start Principal Hollis. Mr. Brooks, we are aware that he's not going to be present.
Present.
Miss L. Deary, also aware that she is not going to be present. Shalonda Miller, that's me. Dr. Bryant,
Present.
Miss Nolan,
Present.
Miss Moore,
Present.
Miss Patel, also aware that she was not going to be present, and Mr. Baker,
Here.
and Mr. England.
Present.
All right, we have a quorum of the Go team, so we are able to move forward with our agenda action items. The first of which is approval of the agenda as published. Are there any edits, additions, subtractions that anyone would like to make at this time? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
So moved.
Is there a second? That was Miss Nolan.
I'll second.
All those in favor by a show of hands?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and the agenda is approved as published. And then approval of the previous minutes, which have been published and emailed to us. Are there any edits, notes, or additions to the December 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes? Hearing none, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes as published.
I'll motion.
Mr. England and
I'll second. Ms. Nolan.
Ms. Nolan. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, and those are approved. And we are now into the public comment section of the agenda. And I'll just remind our viewing public that we have split our 20-minute public comment into two 10-minute sessions, one at the start of the meeting, one at the end of the meeting, and each member of the public will be allotted 2 minutes to speak. Are there any speakers for public comment?
I think you had the one that was supposed to have been read from the parent, the rising fifth grade parent.
Oh, I thought they were coming to do a presentation about the personal electronic device. Let me find it in my email. All right, we received an email from a parent, Miss Johnson, with regard to personal electronic devices. I misunderstood. I put them on the agenda, but the email reads, hello, Principal Hollis. I hope you and your family had a restful Thanksgiving break. I'm following up on the note below regarding staff community survey about students' personal electronic devices. Would it be helpful if a parent focus group drafted the survey and presented it to you? I assume that any financial investment resulting from the survey findings will need to be voted on soon. I'm copying Go team member Ms. Patel, who has agreed to bring this topic up at the next meeting. The 45+ families who have generously pledged to support this effort have requested a status update, and it would be wonderful if this could be discussed at the January meeting. Thank you again for your time and consideration, especially knowing how many responsibilities you are managing. Best regards, Haley Johnson. All right.
The only reason why I wanted us to read it is because the date of the Go Team meeting was changed, and so I didn't know how that coincided with her schedule. So at least we were able to bring that comment to the Go Team to then see if we need to add that to discussion.
So I have it as an informational item, like I said, because I had anticipated someone being here. I'm happy to keep it and maybe have it on the next meeting if for the information to be brought to us. Obviously, that will preclude it from being considered. I think there are other things that are going to be precluded from being considered as a part of this budget, but I will definitely reach out to Ms. Johnson and let her know that if she wants to come and there's information she wants to present, she's welcome. All right. And then we're ready to move into our discussion items. So as you all know, this is our first of 3 budget meetings. This is the allocation meeting where Principal Hollis presents to us what she's come up with for presentation to the district. At this point, we have reviewed our strategic plan and approved our strategic plan, as well as set our rank of priorities for our strategic plan. So now we go into the review and development process. It has been noted that the timing has changed. So we are going to have to vote to move our February meeting so that it aligns with the district calendar. We don't have to do that now, but I just want everybody to make sure I don't forget for us to do that before we end this meeting. And Principal Hollis, I'll turn it over to you.
The agenda that has been approved is different from what we originally posted because we weren't sure if the gifted portion of this meeting was applicable, and it is no longer on the agenda here because we, at this time, we are not changing our gifted delivery model. And so there's no need for any further discussion at this time around the gifted delivery model. We are considering changes. So at the time when we make that decision, then I'll share. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So as Ms. Miller has already indicated, I'm trying to figure out why why it's not putting the speaker on spotlight. But I'll keep moving through. As Ms. Miller indicated, this is the timeline for delivering oh, there you go. Okay. As Ms. Miller indicated, this is the process for our budget. We've already done step 1 in previous, I think in the November and December meeting, if I'm correct. And so I had my principal workshop on the 15th. We are now in step 3, which is our allocations meeting. The next step is discussion with cluster superintendents. Then we will come back together on the meeting that we date that we change in order to meet this guideline of being between early February and February 14th. That is why we needed to change that date. And then there's another cluster review. And then step 7 is the staffing conference. And step 8 is coming back together for us to vote on the final version. So this is again saying what the actions are needed as far as the Go Team. We will need to vote to change this calendar meeting, as Ms. Miller said, and we're thinking about, I'm sorry, moving too fast.
February
Thinking about
11th.
where this needs to go. Yeah, we're thinking about February 11th. I don't know if you all want to go ahead and motion and vote for that.
I will take a motion to approve February 11th for the date for our budget feedback meeting.
I will move that.
All right, that was Ms. Nolan. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Dr. Bryant? All those in favor? Any opposition? All right, so our February 25th meeting will now happen on February 11th. And that'll be the budget feedback meeting. And that, I believe that one was scheduled to be virtual already.
Yeah,
And so it will remain virtual and we will have public comment available for that meeting.
Then the final meeting to vote for the budget is on March 11th. That was already pre-scheduled. So today is just about allocations. The norms for the meeting are there. Only Go Team members can participate. Any members of the public that are here must observe quietly. We invite and welcome contributions from every member and listen to each other. We will follow the agenda as noticed and to the public and stay on task, and we will respect all ideas and assume good intentions. Again, our strategic plan is our roadmap, and it is how we give direction to our priorities, vision, and our future. So we are here in our budget development process. What this is I will, as the principal, will provide an overview of the budget and positions, allocations, requests for turnaround, which we do not have turnaround, but we will see the request for signature program funding and review any changes. Well, we didn't need to do that. This meeting provides an opportunity for me and the Go team to ensure alignment to the school's key strategic priorities, gain a deeper understanding of the budget, positions, allocations, and discuss the proposed requests for signature programming funds, and provide input to drive the development of the draft budget. And you will see the timeline there. My role in this development process is to design the budget and propose operational changes that can raise student achievement, formulate strategies, implement and manage them for the school level, focus on the day-to-day operations, serve as the expert for the school, and to hire quality instructional and support personnel, and to collaborate with the Go team on the use of school level flexibility for position allocations, turnaround initiatives, which again does not apply to us, and signature programs. This is a new process for signature programs, and we'll get to that later. Your role as Go team members is to focus on the big picture, positions, and resources, not people. Ensure the budget is aligned to the school's mission and vision, and the resources allocated to support key strategic priorities. And to collaborate with me on the use of school level flexibility and position allocations and signature programming. This is our strategic plan that we voted on, where we have our SMART goals is to focus on Black special ed and ELL students in grades 6 through 8 to get them to demonstrate a 3% increase in their ELA and math map to close achievement gaps between the highest and lowest performing groups. Increase student CCRPI attendance rate for Black and Hispanic subgroups during this school year by 3%. So for Black students, it will go from 66 to 69%, and for Hispanic students from 76 to 79%. Implement STEAM signature programming, school-wide enrichment activities, monthly professional learning for teachers, and opportunities 2 additional STEAM events once per semester. And stakeholders will engage in monthly school events as well as receive weekly school communication through the 24-25 school year. And then you can read the school strategic priorities that we changed at the last meeting to decrease from 13 or 14 to 10. And then the numbers are based on our rankings. Here is our strategic plan priority rankings in order from highest to lowest. And I added which bucket it falls under so that everyone's clear. All right, so where we have our ranked school priorities and our rationale, I'm not sure if this was done right, but this is normally what I thought Diane, you might want to come off mute and just answer this question for me. Were we supposed to be given rationale for why we ranked the priorities?
No, just sort of like why it's a priority. So
So we're
this,
supposed to take those 10 things and tell why it's a priority? Because
yeah,
normally this is not my work then.
if these aren't your priorities, then this is not your work. This may be our example that we put up there.
These are mine,
Oh, okay.
but I'm trying to make sure was the Go team supposed to come up with the rationale? Because this is like how I took what the rationale or the priorities were in order to start thinking about the budget. And I want to just make sure I was correct in that thinking.
Yes, you are correct. In general, the principal provides this.
Okay, great. Thanks. So as I got that clarity, we wanted to continue to utilize data to meet the needs of individual students. And the reason why we want to do that is so that we can maximize the opportunities for enrichment, achievement, and remediation daily. We are, from that information given to us, wanting to maximize our wraparound services with these, the nurse, social worker, counselors, and others. And that is because we want to continue to make sure that they are whole, increase the advanced content in science while being inclusive with our strategies for gifted and non-gifted learners. And we want to do that because we want to provide rigorous content to all students to meet academic needs. Focus on, as the district has said, reading, lexicals, and writing. And the data indicates that the students who have been with us, and I think I showed it a couple meetings ago, the mobility rate, is that the students are not performing as well as the students who are with us the entire time. And that is due to the transient level of our students in the district in general. And we see that as well at Howard. We want to make sure we're maximizing our instructional minutes and reallocate our daily schedule to increase that instructional time in academic course subjects, so that we can give opportunities for small group learning within classrooms, because that's what we have seen to be successful. Ensure the students are receiving intervention and accommodations needed for their success. Focus on implementation of our timeline for STEAM certification and collaboration within the cluster. And that's just dealing with our PBLs and focusing on the processes to move towards certification. And dedicate time for our SEL curriculum PBIS implementation and celebrations for students and staff. We want to retain great teachers, because the teachers are the ones who help to build the culture and to create moments for students to be seen. So what have we been allocated? We have been allocated $15,112,964. On the next slides, you'll see that differential. This is because we're projected to have 1,115 students, which is an increase of 48 students from FY25. Any questions so far? Awesome. This is an example of what you're about to see, which is the school allocation tab overview, which shows you the changes from 2025 to 2026. And this is what we have here. As you can see, our projected enrollment for this year was 1067. And so they're projecting 1115, which is an increase of 48 students. Total earn increased by $2,945,758. And the total earn per pupil increased by $2,151. Before we get excited about that increase, let's also make sure we are aware that there were increases in how much everything costs, because teachers received an almost 11% increase in salary. And so those positions are going to cost us more as we go into this school year. And therefore, that 2 million looks nice, but is not what it is in reality. Other differentials that have changed from last year to this year is they have increased the weight for elementary, first through fifth, as you can see. And in that increasing their weights, it also decreased the weight for sixth grade for us. Okay. In addition, another change is that we're no longer receiving money for concentration of poverty. When I say we, I mean no school. We also see a change in the incoming performance. As you see, last year we received money on that line. This year no school is receiving money on that line. And the transition supplement, no, that's not what it was. That's it for this slide. Do I have any questions on these differentials?
Ms. Nolan has a question. Go ahead, Ms. Nolan.
Sorry, didn't the weight go up for sixth grade? It looks like it was 0.03 before and now it is 0.25. Is there a typo? Should have been 0.30 before? Or,
I think it was. I think that is a typo,
okay.
because in my notes it said it went down. But we're not going to say anything, because then that might change my my end results, Ms. Nolan.
I will say nothing.
Thank you. Wow, that's a good point out. On the next page, you will see the security grant, which was allocated to all schools in the state from the state, is still remaining there. It was stated that it will be given every year. Field trip allocation is by per pupil. So if the number of students that we have enrolled increases, of course, that increases a little. District funded stipends increase not because we're getting more stipends, but because the cost of the stipends increase. So that is going to account for that. I am not certain why the holdback is not being shown here, because we do have a holdback, but I'll point that out on a future slide. And then last year we received flex dollars for transitioning out of CARES. We will no longer have those dollars. The next series of slides that you will see is our summary tab overview, which is a summary of the staff that we have in the school. The columns you will see are the positions that are earned, which means that the district gave it to the district allocated those positions by district departments. No school level flexibilities in those positions, meaning the district told us we earned it and we must use it in that way. Funded, the district recommended staffing for those positions, and the school has flexibility if we want to fund those positions or if we want to use that money for other things. And the differential. So as you can see, I don't have any differentials from funded to staff for the positions that were whole type funded from the district. So I'm not reallocating those in any way. Let's see, all these are teacher positions. Do you have any questions before we go to the next slide? All right, so now is going into our instructional peer positions and administration and support positions that we have at school. And I'm pausing for questions.
No questions.
Awesome. And then here is a continuation of student support positions that have been earned and or that were allocated as of, today, without any adjustment. One position I can point out is the social worker lead. I've been trying to get clarity on that to see if that means we're getting a second social worker or not. From first glance, I do not think that we are, but we'll stay hopeful. Even though Ms. Randolph does an excellent job. And this is continuing with other positions that support the school, custodial, psychologists, resource officers, site manager. And now that nutrition falls under the district and is not being contracted, these are the allocated positions for nutrition for the school.
So Principal Hollis, it looked like, so there was a whole list of turnaround specialists. None of those are staffed. It was on, not this page. I think it was 2 pages ago.
Yeah, we're a turnaround school.
Oh, okay. So what is it called for our kids who need remediation and assistance?
It's called teacher.
Thank you for that clarification. Thank you.
It's called we make it work with who we have in the building, which is why I'm always talking about how great of a job my staff does, because we don't have extra. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, sorry. The next set of slides is our non-staffing tab overview, and this shows how funds are allocated for non-staff items in the school. And there is a lot of school level flexibility in this space. This is recommended, means the district has recommended us to spend this amount on this line item. Allocations are how much money I am actually going to add to the line item, which right now I have not adjusted anything because it's an allocation meeting, not a feedback meeting. And then the difference shows just that. So here you can see the 208,000 that is being held back or reserved in case we do not hit our enrollment numbers. And that is the discussion we normally have in August after leveling. And so that is hold tight. Recommended, we have monies that has been allocated for district funded field trips. I'm gonna be honest, normally I do not keep that money in that bucket because I try to give the money back to instruction so that we can keep staffing where we have it. They are recommending using $55,000 for supplies, for 1,115 students and 130 staff members for a whole year. 55,000. I just wanted to point that out again. And media supplies, they are recommending us spend $8,920 in that space. Normally, I try to allocate $14 per pupil. For those math whizzes, $8,900 is not $14 for 1,115 students. Moving on, these are the stipends that they have allocated and the subs that we have been allocated. Next year, we will not have any permanent subs in the building. Any questions? I shouldn't say in our building.
How many permanent subs do we have this year?
2.
That's what I thought.
So are you taking parent volunteers for substitutes next year?
Here's the program.
Stop.
The new rules for, not really. The signature and turnaround fund process overview. This year, we are doing for the first time what the district is piloting a zero-based budgeting process for signature and turnaround program funds. Again, we do not get signature funds. So the zero-based budgeting is we are given no funds for signature programming. And we are trying to determine what is necessary to help students to move and keep STEAM and what will lead to positive student outcomes. And during that process, they're going to look at what we have suggested and allocate the funds based on program efficiency and necessity rather than per pupil or history.
May I ask a question? This includes the staffing for those programs?
It is all.
Okay.
So if we are not considered a signature school or a turnaround school, then how does that work?
No. Every school is a signature.
Oh, okay,
So either your
STEAM
STEAM
is our
or
signature.
IB.
gotcha.
The turnaround is what we're not considered.
Okay.
So again, the allocation for this program is 0. And just to go back so you can see the differential, last year we were allocated $355,860 towards STEAM. And right now you see it's 0.
But we can ask for that.
That is what we're going to ask for.
Okay.
The process is I have developed proposed requests for personnel and non-personnel to support our signature program. And I'm going to now share those with you and discuss these proposals and rationale for feedback. After that, by Friday, I have to make any adjustments based on our conversations. And they're going to provide what the determination will be by the week of, what is it? It's provided the week of February 3rd,
which is next week.
which is next week. Don't know which day. And then our meeting is the week after that on Tuesday, and I still got to get a zero budget by then. Just wanted to.
And you don't have to operate a school, right? Like
Everybody's getting a snow day. So this is what I've proposed. This slide has been adjusted from the draft information that was given to you because I have to give a rationale for what I'm asking for. So although it says signature band teacher, I'm not. Teacher is a teacher, so I'm not asking for a band teacher. If you read our rationale, I'm asking for a science teacher because I want to reduce science class sizes on 8th grade. They actually are staffed at less science teachers than 6th and 7th grade currently have. We did improve our CCRPI content mastery around science by 2 points last year, and I would like to continue keeping that trend going. And of course, science is the first S in STEAM, so it is critical for success in the STEAM implementation. We want to make sure that students receive more hands-on labs and practical experiences to deepen their understanding and engagement in science overall. Then I am asking for a signature program coach, which is our STEAM coach, to implement and continue doing our PLs. Do not consider this to be an orchestra teacher because it is not. I consider that line as just a fine arts line teacher, so I'm asking for 1.5. I'm not asking for all because even if they don't give us any, we still have to run connections. So trying to get funding for 1.5 of what we have for fine arts. And it is because fine arts helps to foster creativity, teamwork, and cultural awareness, which are crucial portions of success in for our science and technology fairs, our social science fair, and all the other things that competitions we participate in order to elevate student exposure and love of our STEAM signature program. Then world language, again, I'm not asking to increase, I am asking to maintain. We would have to have world language regardless, so this will just help us to maintain what we have. But why? World languages is crucial and essential for us to think about STEAM from a global perspective, ensuring that we remain competitive in our STEAM acquisition of fairs and things of that nature, and thinking about cultural awareness and critical thinking in that space. We have one more page. These are our non-personnel items that I'm trying to fund. Of course, building the capacity of the STEAM coach by sending them to the STEAM conferences that the state does, and that keeps us relevant and aware of changes and information that's being given out. Then the next line, I think 2 years ago, the school paid for the science grade level field trips. This year, we did not have the budget to do that. So I am asking for that in this budget. I think that the students and Ms. Nolan and Mr. Anglin can speak to it. You know, the students really do enjoy the grade level science field trips that we go on. In addition to the CEP with the district sponsors, but this is for like the Chattahoochee River Project field trip, the Firm Bank field trip, those things that are grade level specific that kind of align with their grade level standards. And of course, that's per pupil plus transportation. Then the next one is just for we have a STEAM club, esports, other things that we use outside of school time to enrich our students and to continue with implementation of STEAM and enthusiasm of STEAM. And so we're asking for monies in that space, monies for labs for our hands-on experiments that we try to conduct in our science classes. We're not perfect, but I think definitely in 7th and 8th grade, because they got a whole boatload of dead specimens to dissect for 7th grade for life science this year. So we're trying to make sure we continue to implement these labs. And then the last line is just fees associated with STEAM certification. So we're trying to explore if there's another avenue besides the DOE. And if so, then there will be fees associated with that certification. Because we have talked about on the Go team how long it takes to get DOE certified. So can we do something else to keep the momentum going around STEAM? So I am now supposed to take, oh, let me go with this. So these are the dollars and my rationale, which I kind of walked through on the last slide. This is simplified rationale. Now we are supposed to have feedback on what I am proposing to receive for signature programming. And remember, we talk about positions and things, not people.
So do you feel like this is super conservative, or is this actually what you feel like you need?
It's conservative in comparison to some other things that I've heard people have put on theirs.
Okay.
Um, it would be nice to get it all. I am hoping and trying to be positive in this space that we get at least get half, and that gets us back to where we were last year.
Gotcha.
So
But in an ideal world, there might be some additional things that you would request.
absolutely. Well, that I would use the funding for, yes.
Okay. Um, okay. My biggest concern is that we don't have any people who are specifically targeting the populations. And I know you have programs and things that you're doing. Will this allocation allow for the continued remedial measures that you've been taking with some of our students in the math and ELA space?
Right. So we do have currently an intervention teacher, and we had one the year before as well. So the goal is to continue to do what we're doing, and definitely getting these funds will help us to be able to do that in the spaces that we're doing it, which you can consider that to be like more of a pull-out model. I know initially when I first inherited the school, they were doing those interventions in proficiency and beyond, which is like it was a non-graded class. I think that we've had more England shaking his head. I feel like we've had more success with reaching our remedial babies, having it as a standalone, like pull out class where you earn a grade. And Dr. Brain is shaking her head as well, which is not the way that it was done prior. So, any other feedback on this? Looks reasonable.
It looks really conservative in a state with a $16.8 billion surplus.
Good luck.
Listen, just putting it out in the atmosphere, just putting it out in the atmosphere.
I appreciate it.
$16.8 billion surplus at the state level. Billion surplus. So just putting it in the
Yeah.
atmosphere.
We all know that that does not necessarily trickle down to the
I
educational
know.
institutions.
I have sent my emails though to my representatives, just putting that plug out there. Anybody else that wants to, I have a template. Shalonda.miller@gmail.com.
But Ms. Hollis, may I make a statement?
Mhm.
I may I make a statement?
Of course.
Um, I think by having a very conservative request for the signature programs would get everything funded, as
Yeah.
opposed to having a bigger budget than this. So I go along with your rationale by looking at this budget, because you're going to get everything that you need, because it's not even $1 million. So I think that the rationale that you've used is a smart rationale in terms of getting everything that you need for this program. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Dr. Brown.
Listen, and if it seemed as if I was questioning, I do not. I trust you. I know that you understand how to move and maneuver in this space. But that was my thought when I looked at it. I was like, this seems really conservative. But I think strategically that might be the approach, right? To get it all funded. And then as constituents and parents, we can do what we can do.
Absolutely. I definitely promote accessing that 16. I mean, like, even if they only give us half of $1 billion, I think that everybody would be happy with that, right?
Yeah, no. And my ask is not just for our school, it's meant for all public schools throughout the
Right.
state of
That's what
Georgia.
I'm saying. So, like, I feel like, or even just, you know,
Yep.
inner city and rural areas, right? You know, if we're
But
looking
I
at
don't
the
know if
promised
everybody has
list,
been paying attention. Georgia has had growth overall as a state educationally. To continue that momentum, we got to have resources, and everybody knows those federal dollars have been rolled back. So it's time for us to take care of us. So sorry I'm on this soapbox, and now I'm off.
no, because of that surplus, that's partially the reason why we're able to get that safety and security $45,000 security grant for every school too. So, you know, you put the money where you think things are important, right? And so I think that is awesome for us to advocate for educating our future. So where do we go from here? Our next meeting, of course, we just voted for it to be before February 14th, which is February 11th. And that will be an action voting meeting where you will see how I'm suggesting the allocations are being utilized. And then after that will be the cluster superintendent reviews, staffing conferences. And then after those, before March 14th, I think we have it scheduled for March 11th, is our final meeting. And this is a new portion. I don't think we used to vote on the feedback meeting, but now we have to vote on both. Any questions?
No, and just for everybody who's listening, in the interim, Principal Hollis will be having her meetings with the district at the district level, which will inform what she gets back and how she presents it to us.
All right, so that concludes that portion of the agenda.
All right, that's the budget allocation presentation. If there's no additional questions on that, the next thing we have are our information items, which is the principal's report.
Back to me. I'm going to go through these things kind of quickly because we did these on Friday at the principal's coffee. So please go to our YouTube channel and look at this. But this will give Go team members an opportunity to chime in if they would like. First thing is our CCRPI reports or results. Purple is where we were last year, and black is where we are this year. And I'm very excited to say that we have seen increases in almost everything.
That's amazing. Can we just pause for that? Can we pause for that? It's amazing. When I saw the numbers, I was like, ooh, so excited. Great job. Staff, leadership, all y'all. Great job.
Yes, the team they listened to all the stuff, and I was very excited that we made these kinds of gains in one academic year. But that means I'm stressing them out even more. Because if you see on this next page, these were our targets for last year and whether or not we met them. And when you meet that target, you have to meet a higher target. So being very supportive of our staff right now while they try to do the impossible, which is keep our progress points up and not have to drop back down, because traditionally most schools get the progress points up and then drop down the next year because that target keeps moving forward. So I have the QR code if you want to go to the state page so you can investigate that. And then I was very excited. The 90 for closing the gaps comes from how we calculate the green flags. And as you can see, we don't have that many red flags. So that's very exciting. As Ms. Miller stated, we still have work to be done in certain subgroups. But what this is indicating is how much we're closing a gap for our subgroups. For economically disadvantaged English learners and students with disabilities, you get to get extra points. And that's how we got the green stars, because if you go 6% or more decrease of the gap, then you get the green stars. So we have really done a lot of work with our students with disabilities and economically disadvantaged populations last year, and we're trying to keep pushing the needle and keep diving in. So again, be supportive of my staff. They work very hard. They work beyond 9 to 5 to make this kind of data happen in 1 year.
With 42 new staff members.
Yes, that was with 42 new staff members. We do not have 42 new staff members this past year, and hopefully will not have in next year.
It's amazing.
But, yeah.
It is absolutely amazing.
So what are the biggest challenges with the English learners trying to close that gap? Is it staffing or?
We did have staffing changes in that department. Well, we had staffing changes in every department, but we did have staffing changes in that department and continued staffing changes in that department this year. So trying to find the fit for the right person that will be able to reach those subgroups and helping give the training to teachers as they think about how they interact with, you know, being in a classroom where everyone's speaking a language different from yours. Every
Right.
test is in a language different from your native tongue. And the state tests will be in English as well. And so trying to
Mm.
provide strategies for those students, make them feel welcomed and seen. Um, and it takes a little bit more dedication
How
because
many
it comes
staff
with
do you have per grade level to help with that?
is per school. I'm gonna go back to the
I'm
allocation.
sorry.
hmm Out of all the people allocated for the school, it is, and this is the whole text, so I don't control this line, but I wanted you to see. Oh, I went back to mini. As you can see, teacher ESOL
So you got
22.
two
Yeah,
for the school.
for all 1,115. And to your point, what you're trying to say without saying it, Mr. Baker, uh, a former person that was federally in the position for Department of Education, this was a big push of his to bring attention to ESOL, um, because it's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So this is as of Friday. Our enrollment was 1,082. Um, our CCR attendance was at 90. It is not as of today. I'm just gonna say that. These snow days, got to get them back in school. Snow is over right now. And so please encourage your child to come to school or your neighbor to send their child to school. Our average daily attendance is 95.4, which we've been hovering around there, but you can tell, you can see the comparison. Right now, we're a little bit below 90. I will say we are trending, and I tell the teachers this every faculty meeting. I fuss at them about, not fuss, but lovingly fuss about, hey, we got to get the kids in order for them to learn. We can't teach them if they're at home. And so then our CCR, PI attendance rate goes up. And then over the course of the month, it trickles down. And then we have that conversation again, and it goes up. And it's just like a seesaw. So trying to keep attendance front of mind. I'm not sure why we send kids to school almost every day in elementary space, and then it trickles down when you get past elementary. So we still need the kids to be here so we can teach them what is required of them. And you can see eighth grade is where we're having our biggest struggle with average daily attendance. I also discussed in the principal meeting how our discipline data has gotten slightly worse. In December, we had a lot of little petty things. I guess they thought it was almost time to go home, so you weren't going to, get disciplinary infractions for it, but we do because it's still a school day. So we were in the 90% of students with no incidents last time we met. And as you can see now, we're at 88.6. So we've dropped slightly below, but still trending much better than we did last year by the end of the year. So, and while eighth grade is not coming, the number of incidents is lower than the other grade. We have not discussed MAP data for winter because our last meeting we were in the middle of administering. I think we had only did one day of MAP testing. So here is our fall to winter comparison. As you can see overall for reading map, we did decrease the projected percentage for beginning level, and increase the projected percentage for distinguished. Of course, we would like it to move even more, but we're still moving in the right direction. And this is the breakdown per grade level. Any questions on this? And where we are very excited that we are increasing distinguished in 7th and 8th, decreasing beginning in 6th and 8th. We still have some work to do with our subgroups. So here's our subgroup for fall to winter map for this year by subgroup. The horizontal line represents the district averages. As you can see, our Hispanic population has decreased since proficiency level has decreased since August, August when we did the fall. Everyone else has either gone up or maintained. Then when we look at our students with special ed, of course, we're trending higher than the district, but you all know that's not my competitive nature to compare that. We can compare ourselves to ourselves. So here you can see how we're trending for special ed. In 6th grade, you see that huge decline for special ed students for the 6th grade. Then we have the other grades that we're working on. We do also see a huge increase in distinguished for 8th. You notice that trend there. And then our other subgroup that we're really looking at is our English language learners. And you can see how only trending downward in 8th, increasing distinguished in 6th and 8th. So we need to give 7th grade some love, and that's what we have been talking about as a school. For math, this is our fall to winter breakdown. The beginning level stayed the same, but our distinguished has improved as a school overall. And you kind of see the same thing when you look at the grades per grade. This is how we're trending for racial demographics. And of course, the district line is the black line is the district average. And our group that has decreased over August to December is our 2 or more races. As opposed to what happened in the reading area, all the others increased. So you have none that stayed the same, but you did have the decrease in the 2 or more races. For our other subgroups that we're looking at, special ed, you can see a decrease in beginning for 6th grade specifically, increase in distinguished projections for 6th and 8th. And then our English language learners, we have a decrease in beginning for 8th, increase in distinguished in all grades. No, not 7th, So seventh is just our area. So we are aware, teachers are aware. It is across the board. I will say seventh is your area where you have to convince them to be human. I don't know. We have all the hormone things happen and then it calms down in eighth grade. So seventh grade is just our target area for all things. I don't want to make it seem like it's just reading and math, but it's social emotional. It is, just things. A lot is happening in the body at that time. So, but I always say hats off to seventh grade teachers too, because they all endure all of those different changes as well. Do I have any questions as we finish with the data? Okay, awesome. We're not going to look gift horse in the mouth. We're going to finish with these announcements. Here are the upcoming assessments. We are in access testing mode. It ends on February 28th. That means all the snow days are in this window, and we still have to meet expectations by the state of 95% participation. And so please, 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 with that and everything else, we need the students in school. Right score narrative will happen the beginning of March. So we need the students in school there. Our next map will happen after winter. Isn't that? No, we don't have a whole week. That's just a day off. And then they'll start with the map for spring. And this map administration is where teachers really figure out where to hone in just to get them to the finish line. So it's really imperative that we get the students here for the testing windows. I will say, and Ms. Moore can correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've been trending at about 99% take rate. So we've been really, really trying to make sure we have the data so the teachers can have the information that they need in order to move forward with how we're going to do small group testing. And
We have
then,
100% in the fall. Thank you.
well, there you go, 100% in the fall. And then we go to state testing. GAAs is for our regional units. And then ELC is for high school courses. And then ELG, end of grade, is for all 6 through 8 students. We are in the window for taking our climate survey. If you've noticed, these questions have changed for those who have taken this climate survey. It is much shorter than it used to be. We have met expectations by the state of the number of parents to take the survey, but it's only 78. The state only expected 75. So the number is period, is not the size of the school. I am asking, imploring that we get more parents to respond because we do look at this data as a school leadership team to make adjustments. And the deadline for that is March 14th. So notice you only need 15 parent responses to get that 100%. So we're beyond that. We would appreciate to have a better cross-sectional representation. Out of that information and other things that we've talked about has birthed a more detailed one-stop shop communication plan. It was introduced on Friday to the people who were in the principal copy as a first responders list. They didn't really like that name because they thought it meant something about safety and security, who's the first person to get there. And is really who's the first person I contact when I get this issue. And then, okay, I didn't like your answer, or I needed more, or you didn't respond. So let me go to the second person. And then let me go to the third person. So we are launching this at the beginning of next month. It is, I think, very detailed, and it's hyperlinked so that you can email the person that's on the sheet. So it will be linked to the website. We're still tweaking this to make sure it looks the way we need it to look, meaning has the information in there the way we need it to have it in there. When we got feedback from the people who were on the Coffee Friday, they said that they saw benefit in this. And I know one of the things that we've been talking about is communication. So again, that's part of what is on that climate survey from the state. So we need information so we can know if we're moving in the right direction. Miss Nolan, looks like you went off mute, went back on. Do you have anything you want to say?
I think it's really helpful. Will this be posted on the website once it goes live, just on the regular Howard website so that people can land there when they're looking for things?
Yes, that's what we said at the top of the month.
Okay.
Mhm. And celebrations. Our boys basketball team, see, this was as of Friday, but I can officially say they were undefeated for all of the regular season games. Very excited about that. Girls lost some games, but we're starting playoffs on Thursday. Please go out to Sylvan Middle School to support the team as they try to go to the next round. Robotics won first place in the Cherokee County robotics competition that was a couple weeks ago, and then they won another competition. And so they've received their invitation to compete in state competition. So I'm very excited because that's our first time bringing robotics back. Our dance team competed in an invitational and they won second place. And I think Miss Miller's daughter won in an individual competition. So there's that. And beta, we brought it back last year. We got a lot of feedback about how people felt about how it was brought back. And now we can say that we are moving forward positively. Mr. Anglin is one of our beta co-sponsors, and we were able to get 100 toys, almost 100 toys donated for Toys for Tots. So they are really honing in on service. And so we're excited about that. Upcoming events in general are here. And you can also find all of these events on the David T. Howard calendar on the website. And it is also announced on our newsletter that we send out monthly and the Rams report for PTO. That is all I have.
Thank you, Principal Hollis. Any additional questions for Principal Hollis? All right, and Ms. Algieri could not be here with us today, so we'll save the CAT report for our next meeting. We briefly mentioned the personal electronic device presentation. Like I said, we'll circle back with the potential presenter on that. And then the next thing I have is just announcements. And so just so everybody is listening, our next meeting is February 11th, and it will be virtual and it will include public comment. And then our meeting after that will be as regularly scheduled, which was March 11th. Any other announcements?
Just wanted to point out, like you said, the virtual, but the March 11th will be in the media center
In person.
in
Thank
person.
you. Any additional public comment? I don't know if they can do it while we're on here. Can they sign up? Okay. All right. Any additional business?
Sign up for something for us to read, but I did not. Let me look back at the website while you're asking the last question, but I did not see any new public comments.
All right. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah, all those opposed? I'm sorry, all those in favor? I don't know why my brain did that. Any opposition? All right, we are adjourned. It is 6:08 p.m. Thank you all for all of your time. Thank you, administrators, staff, teachers, amazing work. So proud to be a part of this community. Thank you.